It's always so great to see a family enjoying their garden space together. Thanks for opening your garden gates for us. Right now we're going to be talking about great plants for Texas wildlife, and I'm joined by Barbara Wright from Wright's Nursery out in Briggs, Texas, which is south of Coppers Cove and a little bit west of Killeen.
Correct.
And you have brought a great selection of Texas native plants with you, some for all different kinds of critters out there. So welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It's great to have you here.
Glad to be here.
Well, we're going to start it right off by talking about some of these great plants because we have a lot of new things for our program that we're very excited about. We're going to start with talking about Gregg's Dahlia, and this is a wonderful kind of ground creeping plant. Tell me what wildlife is good for what the Gregg's Dahlia is good for.
It's a larval food for butterflies. I don't know specifically which ones. Also for some of the moths. It provides nectar for some of the pollinators.
Okay. Well, as a garden plant, in addition to being beneficial for the butterflies and moths, it's got this cool gray foliage and this kind of weeping, ground-hugging characteristic, right?
Right. This is a really, really good ground cover for hot, dry areas, likes lots of sunlight. It's a Chihuahuan desert plant, so almost no moisture in the ground. According to the Wildflower Center's site, you water it twice a year during the heat of the summer because that's when the Chihuahuan desert gets its rainfalls.
Okay.
It makes a really dense mound. I've got one customer who puts this, it's in the Hell Strip, the strip between the sidewalk and the street. No water, except whatever falls on it naturally.
Right.
And it's very dense, very pretty.
Right. Well, I love the gray foliage and I love the weeping form, kind of the mimosa-like foliage, which is a natural segue to our next plant, which is fragrant mimosa. And unlike the Gregg's Dahlia, this is an upright plant and similar kind of growing situation, I think, right?
Very dry, very tough. This is one I see in nature along the roadsides growing just almost in the asphalt. Very little supplemental water. It is an upright, almost a V shape, about 4 to 6 feet tall, normally on the closer to 4 feet. Little pink powder puffs all over it.
Right.
Very fragrant. Some of my customers tell me it's reminiscent of pink lemonade, the fragrance.
And the bloom time is in the spring, correct?
This is a fairly long period. It'll bloom off and on from spring through late summer.
Okay.
It's one of the longer blooming periods of some of the natives.
Okay. And let's talk a little bit about the growing conditions for this too. Limestone soils?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what about deer on this one?
It's deer resistant. It does have thorns. This is one, put it away from your paths, put it in the background of the garden. I
think the form is really beautiful, and I'd like to see this in a container even.
Yeah.
I think it would do really well in that.
Yeah.
It's going to show that form that it has in the pretty foliage. So certainly one to remember, fragrant mimosa, and I love your description of the little powder puffs that smell like lemonade. Coralberry is another plant that is a very useful Texas native. And this was one that does well in shade, correct?
Yes. We actually have it planted under the shade of an Anacacha orchid.
Oh, good
It is on the east side, and it could have migrated if it chose to, but it has stayed mainly on the east and the north side of that Anacacha orchid, so it's clearly in the shade.
Right.
This makes a very dense, thicket-like tall ground cover, usually about knee-high. It's just beginning to bud right now, this time. So little insignificant flowers, but then it has some really colorful pinkish purple berries in the fall, and sometimes they'll retain until on into the winter. This is a deciduous shrub.
Right. And the berries obviously attract birds?
Birds and small mammals.
Okay.
The blooms will attract butterflies as well for nectar.
Okay, all right. Well, coralberry, I know there are a lot of fans of this particular plant, including our producer, Linda, who loves it as a shade plant. And we need more shade plants, right? Okay, so that's a good choice. Now we're going to move over to a group of plants over here. And for years I've read about green eyes. I have to say the flower's beautiful, but I also love the foliage on this one. Really nice.
This is not one that I've seen in the ground. I've seen its relative chocolate daisy in the ground, and I suspect this is going to have kind of a sprawling habit similar to the chocolate daisy, although it's without the scent of the chocolate daisy. The seeds for this plant actually came to me from the folks at Medina Gardens Nursery.
Okay.
And it is native down around that area. I don't have a lot of experience with it, but it is unusual. It is native. And it starts out with the green center, which is where it gets its green eyes name. And then these are actually the blooms. This is a composite.
Right.
So the blooms are in the center. And the blooms, as they form, then you lose the green eye somewhat.
Well, again, super attractive plant. And let's talk a little bit about the wildlife benefit of this one.
Attracts the pollinators.
Attracts the human eye as well,
Yeah,
which
definitely.
is great.
Yeah, definitely. I am not sure about small mammals, but it does produce seeds, so it certainly probably attracts the birds.
Okay, very good. Well, I love the Manfredas. There are a lot of different kinds. This is Manfreda maculosa, correct?
That's correct, yeah.
This is a narrow-bladed one. In the woody lily family, like agaves and yuccas as well, but this is very soft to the touch. And again, this is a plant that does well in the shade.
Yes, it does very well in the shade. It'll do a little bit of sunshine. The place where I saw it, where it looked the best, it actually got 2 to 3 hours of sunlight, direct sunlight, morning shade, afternoon shade. It actually mounded up, and it was probably knee-high, just mounds, because it produces offsets similar to the way the agaves does.
Yeah. Well, and the big tall flower spikes, unusual flowers, attract a variety of different pollinators, correct?
Right, that's correct. And they are this particular Manfreda is very fragrant at night. When it blooms at night, you can smell the blooms probably 8 or 10 feet away.
Yeah. Well, it attracts all sorts of interesting night moths, so it's a great plant. And I just think it's beautiful. I love the different forms.
I really like it. I like that it's spiky looking, but it is not spiky.
Exactly.
And it will have, these have been in too much shade really, but it will have more spots on it when it is in a little less shade.
Right. And this is a form of grass, a true grass, called Texas bluegrass. And a great color on this, really dense and a nice weeping form. Is this a good ground cover?
It is a good ground cover in the shade. It needs a little more moisture than a lot of our native plants.
Sure.
This is also good in that it can be mowed. Now, I don't know how frequently you would want to mow it. You can destroy a lot of the native grasses by too frequent mowing.
I think you'd scar this one up a little bit if you mow it, but you keep your blade sharp if you do. But really nice, so you said a little bit of water. I'm thinking a little bit better garden soil then probably too.
I think generally everything that prefers partial shade prefers a little enriched soil.
That makes sense, right? Leaf litter.
Yes, absolutely. That's where I came to that conclusion, watching years of leaf litter. And I think
and this also has a little seed head on it.
It does.
And it's beneficial to who?
To birds mostly, small mammals that collect those seeds. Now this one is very highly deer resistant according to the books.
Good. Well, that will be great out in the Hill Country Gardens, and it certainly would be a nice counterpoint to a lot of other kinds of things. And beautiful dark green color, nice fine texture. That's a great garden addition. Now, how can folks find you real quickly, because we're running out of time?
We are on FM 2657 between Briggs and Ocala.
Okay.
So we are, putting it more generally, we are about 20 miles south of Lampasas and about 20 or 25 miles from the main gates of Fort Hood.
Okay, all right. Well, we really appreciate you coming down to be on Central Texas Gardener, and we'll have to have you back to talk about all these cool native plants. Thank you so much, Barbara.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And coming up next is our friend Daphne.